Natlan is literally around the corner. Can you believe it? This nation will completely revolutionize everything that has been the same in these 4 years, like the anniversary and the Harbinger on the X.1 update, the reputation system, the elemental traveler, and the whole battle system. Since the livestream was incredibly long and packed with news, let's keep this intro short, but first, this is a theory video. I will use information available in the game, but my theories and conclusions are not to be considered the official lore of the game, unless I got something right and it's confirmed in a later update of the game itself. Well then, put on your Saurian-inspired hat and let's start this video, shall we? Natlan is a very unique nation, that goes without saying. Unlike the other nations we've seen so far, where the main element was literally everywhere like water in Fontaine, fire in Natlan is also very different. It's not a volcanic nation with fire and lava everywhere you look. I mean, so far we've only seen just one volcano and it's not even an area we can visit in 5.0. In Natlan we will find an advanced form of pyro called Phlogiston, an orange-green material that can be found in different states in abundance both on the surface and underground. It can be solid, like in the mines or in sulfurous veins. It can be liquid, so lava. It can appear as sky bridges, the spirit ways, and it can also be found in plants and fruits. Phlogiston is used in many different ways. The warriors perform an ancient ritual called Phlogiston engraving to be able to use its properties in battle, and it becomes visible as a glow around the characters called Night Soul's Blessing, which also allows them to communicate with their tribe's Wyob, the totem overseer that each tribe has, and with the ley lines, which is very interesting. Phlogiston though can also be used by normal citizens in the daily life as light source or a power supply, so it's very similar to Indemnirium. Talking about the similarities with Indemnirium, the ever-burning sacred flame in the stadium is also Phlogiston, and it is able to repel the invasion of the Abyss. The warriors from the 6 tribes gather in the stadium every year to participate in the tournament, the pilgrimage of the return of the sacred flame, which is essential to choose the new generation of warriors that will defend Natlan, to showcase individual growth, and in general to collect contending fire from the battles. Basically, whether a warrior becomes a hero or just shows how far their training has led them, they all contribute to keeping the sacred flame burning, so it's very similar to how the belief in justice in Fontaine was gathered and transformed into Indemnirium. Another very important and core concept of Natlan is the ancient names. The Wyob, the overseers of the tribes that are also boss enemies that we will need to fight, choose specific warriors and grant them an ancient name. There is the heroic deeds and spirit of ancient heroes that are carved into obsidian pillars that each tribe has. Of course, it's not just a name that comes with a moral responsibility. These ancient names sound a lot like the callings or ambitions we heard about in Simulanka. Similarly, when an ancient name bearer doesn't fulfill their mission, so if they are defeated by most likely the Abyss, the ancient name they bear will be destroyed, so no one else will be able to inherit it again. This also seems to hint at the connection between fate and names, something we experienced once again in Simulanka with Durin and Mini-Durin, especially because these ancient names are given by the Wyob, and as we said before, the warriors can communicate with them after they perform the Phlogiston engraving, which also gives them the ability to communicate with the ley lines, and we know that they are strictly connected to the fate of Tevat. In the livestream, we were also told something pretty enigmatic. Although death cannot be easily reversed in Tevat, in Natlan only the flames of the heroes are difficult to extinguish, and if they die, their flames can be reignited to allow them to fight until the war is completely over, which is also what Dainsleif meant in the Travail video.
The victors shall burn bright, while the losers must turn to ash.
Now, this statement obviously comes with a major problem. If the heroes can be revived, then why do people receive ancient names? I mean, Natlan would be filled with long-lived heroes that keep getting revived until the war against the Abyss is finally over, but that's clearly not the case, so how does this recognition work? Introducing the Night Kingdom. This underground, eerie place with these ominous spirit-like entities that leave red trails as they move is basically something like the afterlife in Natlan. In this colorless place, well, except for the purple flowers and these purple things that look like the oozing filth from the chasm, we saw multiple obsidian pillars. We were shown 9 in the video, and in front of one of them we saw a pitch black warrior with golden lines. Now, in Tevat, when a person dies, their memories go straight to the ley lines and back to Irminsul, so why is there a sort of ghost in the Night Kingdom? Well, we were told that the Abyss has invaded the Night Kingdom, so these black ghosts may be the ancient warriors whose ancient names are recorded on the obsidian pillars, so a dedicated one in the Night Kingdom and a generic one in every tribe's town. When a warrior is victorious over the Abyss, they earn the right to be revived, but not as a regular living person, they take their fight to the Night Kingdom. On the other hand, if an ancient name bearer on the surface is defeated, I believe that the corresponding pillar in the Night Kingdom gets destroyed, probably because the fate that name was supposed to follow took a different path. It wasn't victorious anymore, so it stops existing, hence the pillar is destroyed, and with it, both the ancient name and the reignited warrior in the Night Kingdom, so one less hero to defend Natlan. The Night Kingdom though is not so easy. There is a specific scene in the trailer that really caught my attention. We see the Stadium of the Sacred Flame being transformed, the colors became muted and the Phlogiston turned black and white, as if it ended up inside the Night Kingdom, but I have a pretty good explanation for this. You see, in this scene where we saw the 9 obsidian pillars, we also saw this huge structure in the distance, and judging by its shape, it's the Stadium of the Sacred Flame, but how did it end up in the Night Kingdom? In my Simulanka video, I theorized that Natlan, just like the Kingdom of Breezes and Bells, has been destroyed and forgotten multiple times in the past, probably 3 times, so once when the Celestial Nails came down, then when the Archon War happened, and lastly with the Cataclysm. Thing is that I believe that the first original version of Natlan, the one that was built after the world was capsized, that existed through the Envoy Age and was destroyed when the Celestial Nails came down, may actually be the Night Kingdom, that ended up underground and with a ley line disorder that turned it the way it is now, and guess what? In case you didn't notice, there is a Celestial Nail in the sky very close to the Night Stadium, let's call it that way. And it's enveloped in the same greyish smoke that characterizes the whole Night Kingdom, which represents the ley line disorder it brought to the land. Just like the sandstorm in Sumeru that turned it into a desert, the cubes that erased space in the chasm, and the ice that froze Dragonspine. Going back to the surface, let's talk about something brighter, the 6 tribes of Natlan. As we know, each tribe lives in a specific area characterized by one of the elements, cryo excluded, and they live with the corresponding Saurian. Furthermore, each tribe has 2 different names, let's say an extended one and a tribal one, and lastly, each tribe also has a specific role in Natlan. Starting with the children of Echoes, the Nanaskayan people representing Geo, they are miners and jewelers. They live in the mines to the east of Natlan, and their Saurians are the clumsy Tapetlisaurs that help them mine, look for gemstones, and also fight. Of course, just like basically everybody in Natlan, they are also warriors, and they believe that only the strongest one will be able to find the best gemstones. In the livestream, we saw that the mines are packed with solid phlogiston, but in the specific sulfurous vein, we also see a very suspicious abyss rift on the ground. Talking about being sus, we were also shown this massive monster spine that goes deep down into what the devs define as a mysterious underground cave. Ryan daughter, is this one of your children again? From the Nanaskayan people, we were introduced to 2 characters, Kachina and Shilonen, and about this last one, it seems that I was actually right in my ignition analysis video. Back then, I said that this symbol that both characters have on their clothes wasn't a lightning, but part of the trail from the Geosaurian symbol, which was the main reason why I thought Shilonen could have been a Nanaskayan character, and yeah, this specific symbol is also present on the Geo tribe's banner. When it comes to Kachina, she's going to be the first character we will meet in Natlan, so she'll help us navigate through the mines. She is a Geovision holder and a polearm user, and she goes around and fights with Turbo Twirly, which has been defined as a vehicle, but we're gonna talk about this when we'll talk about Mualani. Anyway, to conclude about Kachina, the Geo-Wayab granted her the ancient name Uthabiti, meaning resilience. And despite the fact that she can't explain why she had been chosen, she actually never gives up, no matter how many times she has been defeated, so it's a fitting name. Next is my favorite tribe, the people of the springs, the Metzli people, representing Hydro. They are the guides of Natlan. They enjoy music, the hot springs, water sports, and having a good time, so they are the chillest people in Teyvat. And their Saurians are the equally chill, sometimes sluggish Koholosaurs. The Metzli are also the only tribe that can navigate liquid Phlogiston, so the orange-green lava that can be found deep underground. The only character we've been introduced to is Mualani, a Hydro Vision holder and a catalyst user that goes around and fights with Sharky Surfboard. So here's the problem. Aquaria said the Sharky can be defined as a skill, although a very narrow definition, but it cannot be defined as an item, despite it looking like a balloon in Mualani's ult, because as Luohao said, it's supposed to be a companion. This confuses me because it feels like both Turbo Twirly and Sharky Surfboard may be Saurians that further evolved to fit their owners rather than devices that they use, but I'm still not sure about it, so I guess I'll just have to wait to meet Kachina and Mualani to figure this out. The last tribe we were introduced to are the Science of the Canopy, the Huitzlan people, representing Dendro. They are messengers and delivery people, which screams future Kirara event, but above all hunters. They love extreme sports, mainly because the area they inhabit is inhospitable, and the reason why they don't splash on the ground when they jump from mountain to mountain is their Saurians, the extremely cute Yumkasaurs. They can basically spit mid-air, something similar to the 4-leaf sigils from Sumeru, that allows them to jump toward a safe place. As the previous Saurians, they can also be used to fight. They store in their cheek pouches specific fruits rich in phlogiston called Flame Grenade Pectin, that they use to grab phlogiston-rich items and spit them at the enemy, going kaboom on impact. The only Huitzlan character we've been introduced to is the multiple-time winner of the pilgrimage, Kinich, a Dendrovision holder and Claymore user that goes around and fights with the self-proclaimed almighty dragon lord Kuhula Zhao, who differently from the other two companions has been defined as an actual dragon. His appearance is unique to say the least, since it's a 2D sprite, and his personality is awful. The problem here is a completely different one. We were told that the humans and the Saurians don't communicate with words, they don't understand each other through dialogue, they simply grow up together and learn to understand what they're thinking just by looking at them. But a Jaw can actually speak, so is he a Saurian or is he a completely different species? Again, we can only wait for Natlan to be released to find out. Lastly, about Kinich, we learned that his tribe doesn't really look kindly upon him, probably because he accepts every quest that comes his way if the price is right. He deals with the wicked Saurians, those who don't want to live in harmony with the humans, sending them back to the Night Kingdom, which is probably what the Huitzlan hunters do in general. He uses a bracelet that projects something similar to a computer display, and he has a mysterious ancient name that is going to be the main topic of his story quest. When it comes to the other 3 unreleased tribes, we were told their names and we've been kinda introduced to a character each. What I noticed is that we can safely assume what the element of a tribe is by analyzing its name. For example, an echo can be heard in closed spaces like the mines, hence the children of the echoes are the Geo tribe. The springs are obviously water streams, so the people of the springs are the Hydro tribe. The canopy is the uppermost branches of a tree, so the science of the canopy are the Dendro tribe. Following this thought process, the masters of the night wind are most likely the Anemo tribe. Their Saurians should be the Ictomisaurs, because Ranjit told us that they have great flight powers, and the only character we know to belong to this tribe is Citlali, a cryovision holder, although I still think Ororon is one of them too. One thing that looks kinda strange is how the Anemo tribe banner is not teal like the element, but it's a weird grayish blue, which makes me think that they are connected to the Night Kingdom, you know, masters of the night wind, and as such the color got muted like everything in that area. When it comes to their role in Natlan, I don't really have a clear idea, mainly because Citlali was shown to work on fabric and textiles, so maybe there's something like tailors or textile workers. Another tribe is the Flower Feather clan, and I'm pretty sure that they are the Pyro clan, so their Saurians are the Cucosaurs. My explanation is simple. Not only Chaska, the animal user from this tribe, has mainly red clothes, but the Cucosaurs are flying Saurians, hence the feather, and Ranjit picked up Pyro Regisvine as a Pyrosaurian candidate, which is basically a massive living flower. As for their role in Natlan, the warriors from this tribe seem to be mediators that resolve disputes among the other tribes. Lastly, there's the Collective of Plenty, and although out of exclusion is the Electro tribe, the name doesn't really give us much. Ian-san, Electrovision holder, belongs to this tribe and she is a fitness instructor, but also the mentor of the Pilgrimage Champion, which may or may not be Kinich. As a consequence, they may be the tribe that trains the warriors of Natlan for the pilgrimage, but I'm not too sure about it. Sadly, we are missing the name of the Saurian, but I want to take this opportunity to talk about Ian-san's ears because I noticed something quite peculiar. You see, we generally say that those are elf ears like Klee, Nahira or Layla, but there's actually a distinct difference when it comes to their oracles. Klee and Nahira have the same kind of ears. They are symmetrical and horizontal, and the oracles point toward the ground. Layla, Pulcinella and Chaska's ears are also symmetrical and horizontal, but their oracles face forward. Lastly, Ian-san's ears are horizontal, but they're not symmetrical. The back side is lower than the front, and the oracles face both the ground and the front, which makes them look more like Jane Doe's ears from Zenless Zone Zero, and she's a mouse. This may mean that, excluding Nahira because that's not her real form, the only actual long-lived elf people in Teyvat are Klee and Alice, while the others are either subspecies or completely different ones, which would explain their normal lifespan. To conclude about Natlan, I have 7 short things that I saw in the trailer and in the livestream. In the stadium, we saw warriors and members of the audience from different tribes. This grayish-blue woman is most likely from the Anemo tribe, also considering how her hat looks like the Anemosaurian symbol. These 2 men in green are obviously from the Dendro tribe. This light blue woman is from the Hydro tribe, this woman in red in the audience is definitely from the Pyro tribe, while this man here is kinda strange. The colors on his hat resemble the weird colors of the Electrosaurian banner, so purple, pink and green. So he should be from the Electro tribe, although in the audience there are people fully dressed in purple that should belong to the same tribe. We were shown a variety of new animals. There are these cute little birds, these funny birds that do look like they would lose their balance at any given time, flying squirrels and llamas like in Simulanka, these weird flower looking birds, deer, these Phlogiston looking beetles that are obviously gonna end up in a future Arataki Ito Beetle Battle event, capybara, and these, what are they? A mix between a giraffe and a dinosaur? But look at their faces, they're so cute. We saw 2 different versions of the Saurians, the baby ones that are just adorable, and the grown one. This, together with the egg imagery from the shorts, literally make them look like actual Pokemon, which makes me think, will we see them suddenly evolve into their grown form? Is Lil Buddy going to grow up as we progress from 5.0 to 5.3? In the livestream, we were shown a Pyroculus that looks like the Pyro symbol on the Pyro Archon's banner, the Pyro sigil, and in the center of this sun thing surrounded by the Saurian symbols that Malvika is looking at. Still in the livestream, we were introduced to 2 new boss enemies, the gluttonous Yumkasaur Mountain King and the Goldflame Cucosaur Tyrant, but we were shown yet another boss enemy that looks a lot like a Pyro Tulpa. In the trailer, we were shown 2 different sets of scenes that I think belong to Kinich and Mualani's story quests. The twisted dark place with dragon statues and a round door that resembles those from the Envoy Age civilizations like Salvindagnir and Tsurumi Island may be part of Kinich's story quest, as well as the guy screaming,
Kinich, what is the meaning of this?
We also see a strange but familiar broken device that looks like it should work just like the fountain in the Koro Fontaine or the one in the Dainichi Mikoshi, and below this device there's this structure that looks like the one in the Stadium of the Sacred Flame, so maybe in the past there was a Phlogiston flame inside. On the other hand, we saw a member of the Science of the Canopy using a strange abyss device, a purple gemstone surrounded by two rotating horns, that caused a purple fog and some Latin letters floating around. And later we also see a similar abyss device in front of the town of the People of the Springs, that both changed the weather and corrupted a Yumkasor. This of course should be Mualani's story quest. Lastly, the statue of the Seven depicts a woman with the same hairstyle as Mavica sitting inside the 8-pointed sun symbol holding a flaming sphere. This is actually one of the best statues of the Seven so far, of course after Zhongli's one. That one is going to be really hard to surpass. Talking about the statue, we were shown that in Natlan it doesn't seem to be working. We won't receive the pyro element because of the various crises in Natlan, so it's probably due to the presence of the abyss. Considering that the Archon Quest will develop in version 5.0, 5.1 and 5.3, leaving 5.2 as a question mark, and that each tribe has 3 chronicle quests, I think that once we've completed these chronicles, reason why 5.2 doesn't have an Archon Quest, we will receive the pyro element that will probably be necessary in the last Archon Quest in 5.3. Oh, and to give you something to think about, since the Traveler is Pyro aligned in the manga, could it be that after 5.3, when we'll finally get the Pyro element, we will get a Vanessa dedicated quest? Maybe Carmen Dayak too? Now to the last but most complicated sections of this video, the Archon Quest and Capitano. In the trailer, we were told a little bit of the history of Natlan from the Cataclysm forward. They reminded us about Tenoch and the heroes from the 6 tribes that fought with the then Pyro Archon against the Abyss in what later became known as Mare Jivari, but we were also told that the Abyss managed to invade Natlan and the effects lingered for centuries. This is very important for 2 reasons. I still believe that Natlan has had 4 Pyro Archons, including Mavica, which is the reason why the woman speaking said,
"The then Pyro Archon?"
as if there has been at least another Pyro Archon in another previous era, but also because this is similar to Simulanka, considering that the Kingdom of Breezes and Bells had multiple princes and princesses before Sumei, and every time they failed their callings, the kingdom was destroyed. And lastly, because Barbeloth talked about these virtual wills, the Archons being 1 like in Mondstadt and Liyue, 2 like in Inazuma, Sumeru, Fontaine and Snezhnaya, or 4, and Natlan is the last nation available. Then we were told that Mavica achieved an overwhelming victory, which I personally think it means that she won the tournament 500 years ago and earned the right to rule, and as a consequence she was able to repel the Abyss as much as possible since then, but despite that, things today aren't exactly peachy. Natlan is on the verge of destruction, and it doesn't even have a year before it gets destroyed, but Mavica seems to have a plan to most likely defy fate and solve this final crisis. A potential reason for this destruction may be the Abyss that managed to invade the Night Kingdom and its ability to read the memories of the land, so they're tapping into the ley lines as they usually do. The woman in the trailer also gave away what's probably gonna happen in the end. She said that as long as a sacred flame keeps burning, the Abyss will be repelled, which basically means that the sacred flame will be extinguished and we will have to face a massive invasion of the Abyss. Almost at the end of the trailer, we hear someone that honestly sounds like Dottore, but I'm not really sure that it's him, telling someone to unite the tribes to prevent the impending doom, and then we hear Capitano doubting how useful the Gnosis in Mavica's hands is. Mavica interestingly points out the fact that his words come from a personal grudge. It's not what the Tsaritsa asked of him, and he replied that it now falls upon him to create new rules for Natlan, meaning that he probably won this special pilgrimage and he has earned the right to rule just like Mavica did 500 years ago, at least according to my theory. Mavica then turns into Captain Marvel and the fight against Capitano begins. I would like to point out 2 things before talking about Capitano. First of all, the pilgrimage is going to end in 5.0, it's not going to be the main theme of the following updates. While when it comes to Mavika's hair, it's interesting to see how they took Furina's double hairstyle and brought it to Honkai Impact 4 Lantern, and then they took Lantern's glowing hair and brought it back to Genshin Impact. Now it's finally time for the section you're probably most interested in, Capitano. I have a pretty decent theory about who he is and what he wants, and it all begins with Ignition, where we saw his pitch black face under the helmet. His skin is so black that it doesn't even reflect the light of his sword. Why is it important? Well, remember the pitch black figure in the Night Kingdom? I think Capitano is basically the same kind of entity, a hero of the past that died most likely in the Cataclysm. The only difference is that I believe that he failed to defeat the Abyss because we know that it still invaded Natlan, so he was supposed to disappear together with his ancient name, but for some reason he didn't. And now, as the dev said, Natlan's concept of war is the reason why he is now in Natlan. He fought during the Cataclysm, but he was defeated, so he was burned to cinders, you know, the pitch black skin, while trying to achieve his dream to defend Natlan. He then fought in the pilgrimage because he has a wish, that is to become the new ruler of Natlan and achieve victory against the Abyss, the only way to become an accomplished hero and earn a name for himself, that is to turn his name into an ancient name, which in turn will allow him to enter the Night Kingdom so that his flame may be reignited. Does what I just said remind you of something by any chance? Yes, it is the description of the Agnidas Agate gemstone, an essential material that usually talks about the corresponding Archon, but in this case alone, it specifically says achieved someone's truth he has. Which means that this time, it's not just about the Pyro Archon, it's also about Capitano. Now, I also have a theory about who he actually is, especially because he most likely died during the Cataclysm. I won't be around the bush because the video is already long, but I think he might be Tenoch. Wait, is it Tenoch maybe? Well, anyway, the hero from the talking stick. He gathered the heroes to help the Pyro Archon, but they all failed, and this may have happened because of Murata, the then Pyro Archon herself. Now, I do think that the Pyro Archon has always been the same person who died and came back to life like a phoenix, forgetting everything from her past life, and if I'm right, Capitano's grudge may be justified. He knows that Murata and Mavika are essentially the same person, so he may be thinking that just like she failed back then, the same will happen this time, and her plan doesn't seem to be a good one either. If you thought that I was done with my crazy theories about Capitano, you were gravely mistaken because we still need to talk about his greatsword. I watched Capitano's movements frame by frame looking for a vision, a delusion, or both, and surprisingly he has neither. Now his sword is enveloped in what looks like a colorless Night Soul's blessing, and the shape of the hilt reminds me of solid Phlogiston rather than ice. I don't know what the leaks say about him, nor do I want to know, so please no leaks in the comments, but could it be that he's not a cryo character but a fire one just like Mavika? I mean, remember what Phlogiston looks like in the Night Kingdom? It's a black and white flame, which is exactly what his sword looks like. Anyway, to conclude, these theories, together with the gemstone that usually talks about the Archon while this time it's about both Capitano and the Archon, give me a pretty clear idea of what's going on in Natlan. Capitano thinks that Mavika's plan has reached an impasse, that she can save the nation, but is it really true? Could it be that everything she's done, including this year's special pilgrimage, Capitano's victory, and maybe her own sacrifice by his hands, was exactly her plan all along? And that's it, I hope you liked the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, and if you're interested in Genshin Impact or Star Rail Theory videos, consider subscribing. I will obviously see you again after I've played everything in 5.0, and there might be a huge surprise in that analysis video as well. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, over and out.